Hey, what's going on, good people? It's your girl T Hardaway,
Miss Michael Bahsil.
and we are the Did It for the Hood podcast.
Indeed.
Thank you so much for coming back to listen to us again. So we have another wonderful guest this week, and I'm gonna let Mike kick this one off.
Yeah. So this guest that we have here is an actor. He is my brother. He is a American Academy of Dramatic Arts alum.
Mm,
Okay.
speak about it.
He has done his credits, in my opinion, are long,
All
like
right,
money long, in
all
my
right.
opinion.
Love it.
So, he's been done extra jobs.
Mm,
Director.
mm,
Let me just call off the hats.
mm.
Also actor, like I said, writer, upcoming
Right.
writer as well.
Hmm.
But hey, I just want to shout out my brother, the one and only Prentice Myles. Let's make some noise.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here. Good to be here.
Hey, thank you for being here, bro. So man, listen, I think first thing what we want to know is like where you from, bro.
I am born in Savannah, Georgia,
Mm,
912. Moved to Atlanta at Douglasville, Georgia, around like 15, 16 years old. My parents just one day was like, we're moving to Atlanta for Christmas. How you like that? I was like, oh, I don't like it. But best decision they ever made for me. I was there until 19.
Mm.
17. Wow, math.
Man, so what's it called? You said that it was the best thing for you. Why you say that?
Uh, well, because Savannah doesn't have a lot of places for the arts other than SCAD. Um,
Hmm.
SCAD for some reason to me, or I guess maybe I just didn't do a lot of research into it when I was younger, was accessible to everybody. At least from my experience, I don't think that it was accessible to a lot of different people. The arts isn't like I always wanted to do the arts. My parents, they knew that, but that wasn't something that they really fully entertained until they like saw me do it. So that wasn't their motive for moving, but it most certainly at the end of the day was the best decision for me to get around that environment that that showcases or that can help me strengthen that. So that was a really good decision, I think.
Mm. Okay, so that move to Douglasville, how was that for you?
Yeah, that was difficult. I have to say, being a new kid I think is the worst thing as a teenager you could experience. um, like having to move into a new environment and like I think as a teenager we all yearn for that to be seen or to be like heard or like we wanted to be the cool people
Right.
essentially. Like the school that I was in Savannah, I wasn't like necessarily popular, but like everybody knew me, and I think there for the most part, everybody liked me. Everybody enjoyed being around me. Um, so to just go into the environment where nobody knows me and to have to find my way and to know that Savannah and Atlanta was totally two different experiences. Savannah, also in Savannah, we had school uniforms. So to go from school uniforms to I get to wear whatever I want. I didn't have I didn't have the fly clothes. I knew I was gonna walk into that school and get roasted day one. I knew. And sure enough, I was getting roasted when I first got there. Like, but nobody checked my shoes. My shoe game was always on
Listen, you
point.
got to keep the shoes on point.
Yeah, shoes are very important. It's
Listen,
crucial. I don't care
listen.
about anything but my shoes at this point. To this day.
I get it, bro. Listen, hey, just for the folks at home, especially if you grew up in the South, you know that if your shoe game ain't right, you're gonna get clowned easy. That's just how it go. But
The shoes make up for everything else. The
okay,
shoes and
and
your
do.
haircut. The shoes and your haircut. If you keep those two things right, you're pretty much good. Shoes.
Oh man. So bro, in high school, at least I know because we went to high school together. Yeah,
Mhm.
but you play football. So talk a little bit about just your football experiences growing up.
Uh, well, growing up, I really wasn't like football isn't something that I would necessarily have said was for me, but it was like it was for me because like my dad did football, my big brother did football, my grandpa, like it was kind of like a family thing at that point, and I really wanted to really make my dad proud, and I thought that that was how my dad was going to love me by if I did sports growing up. And so that's how I really got into it. And middle school, I was trying out for football. I really wanted to be a wide receiver. At my size, I wanted to be a wide receiver. And I did not understand that I could not be, and I did not make the team in middle school in like seventh grade. But then I tried again in eighth grade, being more realistic. Defensive tackle, DN, linebacker, and I actually made the team. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed the experience. It totally for sure is a definitely different environment. Toxicity wise, I have to just gotta say, moving into high school, being in that environment, it was like it taught me some things though. I have to say. It taught me things not in the moment, but looking back at it now, I can learn from those things. It definitely taught me a lot about God. That is one thing that I for some reason every coach that I had, even in Little League, my dad was my coach, but we also had like other coaches that were helping, and for some reason, I think that I find that I have to unpack that. I don't know for what reason, but I've always had a coach that has been that it wasn't like beaten into us, but it was like, what's the word?
It's
Heavily
also,
suggested.
yeah,
Yes,
right.
about God, and we did a prayer before every game, and at the end we even prayed. Even the majority of the time, we mostly lost, and we even did prayer after that. Um,
Because God's still
even at
good.
New Manchester, we did that. So like
Mhm.
that, God is definitely heavy in presence for some reason around the sports wise for me.
Question for you.
Yeah,
Since
absolutely.
since your family was so heavy into football and sports, how was it when you decided to say, I want to go into the arts? Like, were they receptive?
So yeah, I mean, kind of, sort of. At first, they were just like, again, they thought it was a phase. They thought I
Mhm.
was joking. They didn't think it was really serious, and they were supportive of it. And my dad was in the arts as well when he was growing up. He was a singer. He had a singing group that ended up failing because they got scammed. But so he was accepting of it, and they kind of basically my dad sat down with me one day after realizing that, or my brother, I guess, went and told my dad that for some reason he told him that I only reason I played football is because I wanted him to love me. And I did say that at a very young age. I told my brother that.
Mhm.
And my brother told my dad, and my dad told me that he will always support me in whatever I choose to do.
Mhm.
And he is loving me. It just comes with, that that's he's my dad. He will always love me.
Right.
He told me that at a very young age. So that was like around, yeah, that was definitely in middle school. And so in high school, when I kind of like told them, they were just like, okay, sure. They said go for it. They were supportive of it. But
Mhm.
when they really saw me in action doing it,
Mhm.
they were like, oh, okay. Okay,
Mhm.
let's get serious. They're trying to learn how to be more knowledgeable about it. How can they push me more out there? What can they do to help me succeed and grow? It was all such a late start because I didn't get to Atlanta until I was like until the end of sophomore year, and we didn't learn that I was really actually good at that until the middle of junior year. So,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
yeah, but they were definitely 100% supportive. They were
Mhm.
supportive.
Okay.
So it's time when you was talking about you started really getting super involved in junior year.
Mm-hmm.
So what are like some of the things like plays and stuff that you feel like you can recall on that you feel like had a major impact on you in high school?
In high school,
Yeah,
um, sheesh,
yeah, I know.
I'm starting to feel a little old because I was about to say that was years ago, and it was years ago. And that's the funny thing. But plays that I read in high school, like August Wilson, by far, and I really didn't. I have to say, like Lynn Nottage, like Black playwrights was things that
Yeah,
we were knowledge on and briefed up on. Um, and so, but August Wilson for sure, with the not just because of the competitions that we did, but his writing is just it's just so real, and it's raw, and it feels like I don't know, it feels human. It's not hard to connect to. And I love I don't know. I don't know. I love plays that I can easily connect to because I guess for as a black man, there's not a lot
right.
of plays that I can or like easily look at and picture exactly how it probably is supposed to be done. Not, I don't know August Wilson. I personally, but I don't know what his vision was, but I can see it all when I read it. And yeah, I love August Wilson. To this day, I'm still trying to collect each and every play, like individually. I know you got the whole collection in a whole thick book,
Man,
and
it's,
I
it's
remember
crazy because I
asking you,
keep it with me.
"Hey, you got to. That
Hey,
is like the acting Bible right there." Very strong words, but
very,
that's how I feel
very.
about August Wilson. His work is amazing to me. Um, Terrell Alvin McCraney
Mm-hmm.
is another one that the brother size. I love
Right.
that play, but I really didn't really because I'm not much of a reader. Still to this day, I'm not much of a reader. I only read plays if I'm in it or like there's a monologue that I know that I want to tackle that's in it. Um, I haven't really done a deep dive in playwrights until college, and that was because I kind of had to. I had to brief myself up more on a lot of different things and catch myself up because again, we were just being taught these black playwrights. And but yeah, August Wilson, Terrell Alvin McCraney. If I gotta name any of them, those two right there.
Mhm.
Those two right there.
So, question for you. Since you said you kind of got started late, right? You said you got into your junior years when you got started.
Mhm.
What was the process of you getting into your university?
Um, yeah, so with that, I kind of LOL like I think like a lot of people had high hopes of like LOL, Juilliard.
Yeah.
Um, but being realistic at that time and knowing that I just kind of started late. I'm very new to this and Mr. Connor was there for the most part as much as he could be to guide me and give me as much knowledge as possible. But you can only do so much with especially with the time where it became senior year where it was for the time for me, I guess for me to be briefed on everything and guided. He
And
had
who,
other responsibilities.
Mr. Connor was your
Mr. Connor was our he
Acting
was
teacher.
our acting teacher, and then he ended up
Art
becoming
director.
the director of the entire FAME program my senior year. So he had a lot of responsibilities. He can't be there all the time and he can't give me all the information. My parents don't know everything. And so that process for me was like, okay, how do I get into college? And I remember my entire senior year, I had this piece of paper printed out that I put on my mirror that I woke up to every day that I saw, and it was there are 1,700 or something acting schools in the country in the United States. I can get into one. I can get into one. So that was my mindset every day, and I was like, I didn't know what I was looking for, and I was just looking for things. I was like NYU, but then you gotta have test scores, and so my next thing was okay. I gotta prepare myself with the PSATs, SATs, all these other things, And I went and took those things. I did, and I got a decent score in the SAT, and I got a decent score in the ACT, but they weren't great enough to get into like the bigger schools, and I got accepted into Kennesaw. Um, so I was gonna go there for the acting program. And I also had AMDA lined up, which is the American Musical Academy, or something like that. And then ADA was just something that I threw out very last minute. I was very set that I was going to go to AMDA. And then we went and saw the school. Mr. Connor had it was a famed New York trip, and we came up here to New York, and we went to see a couple of schools. Um, and we saw AMDA, and we saw it, and it was not great. It looked like a police station inside. It was very miserable. It was I did not enjoy it whatsoever. That I was like, wow, what did I get myself into? This is a mistake. So I immediately was like, I guess I'm not going here, even though I got a full ride basically from them. So I would have been going there for free for the most part. It just that was not worth that. I don't know. I don't know what kind of education I would have gotten out of there, or so I'm glad that Mr. Connor took us to go see that. And I was like, Mr. Connor, why didn't you tell me it was like this when I auditioned? He said, oh, I just wanted you to see for yourself. You got to learn. Is exactly what he said.
Literally.
Very father-like. Mr. Connor left us with a lot of father-like lessons, and I appreciate him for that. But before AMDA, I had that the posse program that Danny
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, so
yeah,
it was like a scholarship
yeah,
program
it's a
that you could
scholarship
get a
based
full
for
ride to Bard University, right?
yeah, they going to these far out colleges with I guess the posse, their whole thing was getting a community together that you're going to go together to this like Texas or like Philadelphia, like going those places by yourself and not having a community or people that you are familiar with behind you is difficult. That change is difficult. And so the posse, their whole idea was getting these people, meshing them together with like group based exercises and stuff like that to get acquainted so they can go to these places and succeed together. I turned that down because I thought that AMDA was going to be great. And so I had no backup. But Michaela Tolles, who was a year above me in fame at New Manchester, we magically met up with her when we were up here in New York for that trip. And she was like, yeah, I go to ADA. So, I was like, what is that? And she's like, American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I go there. It's really good. She's like briefing me about it, telling me that I should really apply. And you were there. I don't know if you pretty much remember the conversation. I was very like on the edge about it, but I took the leap of faith and just applied because what other what else do I have other than Kennesaw? And LOL, staying in Georgia to me was just not the move. I felt like that I really, really needed to go out and learn on my own and experience life on my own because my parents, I have to say, protected me and shielded me from a lot. And so I have to say I was a shelter kid and I didn't know of the better until I had to go and do that for my own. So I thought that was really important for me, not only for that, but to experience to be in New York City, where I think that the most opportunity is here for me. To be there in the center of all that was the best outcome, I thought. And so I'm glad that I took that leap of faith and applied and then got accepted and then came here. And that my parents supported me and we got some loans out and they got me here. And it was really good decision. Really good decision. That was the process.
Yeah.
Tough, but we got here.
Okay. So, bro, talk about your college experience a little bit. Like, what was it like? You know, I mean PWI. So
Yeah.
yeah, talk about it.
Yeah, that experience, that was it was very challenging at first. I was not expecting what I was walking into. And I don't think that my situation would have been as drastic had it not been also a art school, a for drama. It's a school of drama. So there's going to bound to be drama inside of it. The transition to college was just really, it was nuts. I again, not being aware of all these different cultures and situations and kind of like things. I came in being myself, of course, and I don't know. I don't know how things became how they came. Let's just say I quickly was turned into the black guy, the aggressive black guy, or I don't know. It's based off of looks solely because I'm a big guy. I for some reason I guess I look intimidating. I assume, or so I've been told.
So when you say you're a big guy, how tall are you, Prentice?
Okay, no, I'm not like big, or I'm not. I feel like I'm big. Okay, I'm 5'7" to answer your question. I'm
Hey,
5'7".
but listen,
I'm a
but I
short
do
king.
But you
listen,
got big personality and you're
Yeah,
big. Yeah, I got you. Big
yeah,
energy. I got you. I got you.
yeah.
and I also do want to point out too, because you quote unquote look intimidating is racist. Hey, great.
Um, yeah. I kind of feel that a bit of that at times, and I felt a little bit of that sometimes. Um, it just I don't know. There was this guy. He just basically started rumors about me that I was bullying him, and people really believed that like instantly because I'm a black guy, I'm intimidating, and then he's this really skinny, scrawny white boy, and so who are you going to believe? You don't know anybody. We're all college students. This hasn't even happened, and we're 2 weeks in. We're only 2 weeks in. 2 weeks in. We just got here, and you're hearing rumors about this guy. Who are you going to believe? Especially if it's coming from word of mouth from the other person, rather than you're hearing it from somebody else.
Right.
I hear it from somebody's word of mouth. I'm probably, and I don't know anybody else. I'm probably most likely going to believe them. So I can't even be mad at the people that ran along with the story and caused a lot of issues for me within classes because teachers had the idea of that I wasn't really here to learn. Um, so that I was just here for the college experience, which a lot of people that I went to college with were just there for the experience to be in going to college in New York and not for the experience to actually learn how to be an actor. So that's a fair assumption as well. So they automatically put me in that category. I felt like it took a while for me to obviously dig out of that, which a lot of more other things ended up happening for me within that first year. Just it was it was thing after thing for me, and it was all I came down to. I think, well, obviously, I think just looks, and but then also communication. I realized that I needed to communicate more. I didn't. I'm I in high school I was, I guess, I from at least from point of views that I've heard from other people. You might not ever have heard of this, but people kind of like said I was like really loud and I'm boisterous and obnoxious.
Mhm.
I definitely didn't want that to be my perception in college
Yeah.
in a new place. And I think when you go to a new place and you're in a new environment, you're like, okay, it's time to
Yeah.
rebrand. I can rebrand and nobody knows me, fresh slate, everything. So I was trying to be that quiet person, that person moved in silence and I had to break out of that and start communicating with people and showing them that, yeah, Prentice is actually down to work. I even had to sit down with a teacher and tell them straight up that, okay, I know that you probably think that because there had some people who were very sensitive about any notes that they got. They're like, okay, the teacher thinks that you're very sensitive to notes and you're not really want to learn, and that you just, again, just here for to be here for that experience. So there were teachers I felt that were like just giving me notes to just, or like, you're doing good, do this, da 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 da, not really giving me notes, or really not really helping me and not really paying attention, until I told this one teacher, I was like, listen, rip me apart. I'm here to learn how to be an actor. We didn't pay $100,000 for me to just come here for the experience. I want to learn how to be the best. I told, like, this is what I straight up told him. And from that, having that conversation, and that took me to have that conversation at the end of first year. I had 2 months left, and then I had that conversation with the teacher. And then from then there, things changed for me, and like it clicked in. Yes, I was getting that more attention, and people were giving me the right tools and asking me the right questions that made me think about those things that clicked for me. And yeah, I learned something from those other teachers that I had, that I was able to take those practices to actually apply them when I had the opportunity. But coming into it, I didn't have a lot of support. I did not, from not knowing anybody, and then from the rumors being started about me being a bully, and just, yes, racist, from outside looking at a black guy perspective. Like, I don't know. The whole thing was nuts. But
Question.
I'm happy I got through it. Yeah.
How did you keep your mind together when all that was happening? Because I knew that was like a crazy experience for you.
Um, I don't know how I kept my mind together. I
Mm.
really don't. I At the end, I did break down. At the end of it, I did break down. I called my dad and we had a conversation. But before that, I was pretty much just like trying my best and trying to learn as much information as possible. Um, that's all I really could that's all I pretty much could do, It was
Mm.
just power through it and keep trying to get something from somebody. I had to continue to ask the right questions. My mom told me growing up, and this is something that she's experienced because she's went through different companies or like mergers, that her companies that ended up having to merge into other companies and having to start a whole new training basis all over again.
Mm.
And she wouldn't get the right information and stuff. And she always told me, ask questions, always ask questions. You're not gonna, nobody's gonna tell you or feed you anything, especially as a black man. So you
Mm.
gotta continue to ask questions. And yeah, you might come off as annoying and people might hate you because of it, but you gotta continue to ask questions.
Mm.
And so that's all I just kept doing, was asking questions, taking notes of it. I didn't become a excessive note taker until like second semester. But like first semester, I was just there for the experience and trying to learn as much as possible. But I didn't get serious until second half of that year, and I was just asking as many questions as possible. Um, but later down that line, towards that, again, that 2 month point, I did break down. I did cry. And I called my dad and I told him, we were doing like rehearsal and performances at that point. So we were just getting a really big chunk of a scene, and they were trying to see how we took everything that we learned that year and applied it into the work. And that was going to be our basis into if we got into second year or not. Right, that was like our final year exam. So I remember, I can't say that, but like I was in a very bad situation where I did not have a lot of people in my group who pulled the weight. Let's just say. Um And that was very frustrating for me because I knew that this was my final year exam and that this was going to be my basis of if I got into second year or not. And that was a lot of pressure on me. And I was just like, yo, I'm going to fail because nobody's taking this serious. And I was just crying. I called my dad, and my grandpa had just died around that time. So that was also a lot for me. And I call him and I'm crying. He was shocked because in the entirety of the time, from his knowledge, he thought I was having a great time. Because like I didn't tell my parents a lot of the things that were going on there because like who wants to hear that these things are happening to your child? And I already know my mom. And I know that she would step foot in, like she'll step in, and then it'll just be an even bigger problem. And I don't want to have it to be a bigger problem. I don't want to be the guy, especially I don't know. I battle a lot with the race thing in this industry, but like I don't want to be the black guy that causes problems. So I kind of kept quiet a little bit. Um, but I called my dad. I was crying. He was shocked. I was crying. I was crying because I came home. I came to the dorms, and my roommates were like, they told me already that there was going to be a party, and my classes at that point were all late. They had classes early in the day, but all my classes for some reason were late. And so I got out at 10 p.m. And I remember coming up and there was a party. And I was like, okay, as long as y'all save me some pizza. Came up there and there was no pizza. And I was really hurt about that. And I just went to my room and broke down crying because it was just like that was the last straw for me. I come home late. I come home late from school for trying to drag a team together to do something, and then I get no pizza, and then it's just loud, and I right here by my room, cool. I broke down crying. I called him and I told him everything, and like I feel like I'm going to fail, and I don't want to fail, and I can't remember exactly the exact verse number, but I remember that's what got me through at and it got me through the rest of my 2 months there. It was songs. Ah,
Not
I don't
20.
know the
Wasn't
exact.
23, was it?
I'm
Yea,
not
yea,
sure.
though I walk through the valley of death, shadow of death, I shall feel no evil. Sound familiar?
Something. Yeah, very close to. Very
Okay.
close to.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that might be what it was. I don't know. It was very powerful for me at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Every now and then you come to a verse that is just very powerful for you, and that one right there at that moment, apparently it was my grandpa's favorite verse. My grandpa was a pastor,
Mm.
and so that was his favorite verse. Is what my dad told me. It's like this is your dad's favorite verse, your grandpa's favorite verse, and he told this to me every time that I was worrying about something, and he shared it with me. He said, "I'm gonna send it to you." He sent it to me, and I printed it out and I put it right next to my bed. Um, and that's what I woke up to every day. I woke up to my grandpa's program, and I woke up to that Bible verse, and that's what got me through the last 2 months to just continue to like push through and worry about everything that's coming around me, and that I have the power at the end of the day. I have the power. If there's a will, there is a way. Um, so yeah, that's how I got through. Just had to keep pushing.
Solid, bro. Solid. So we out of school now, and what? How was that? Getting out of school, auditioning, things like that.
Um, it started off actually my first year. I was really worried because my school had a third year program that all they did was just do shows that entirety of that third year.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't get in. I didn't get accepted, and only I think like 30 people get accepted maybe out of the class. I don't know. It could be 25 people, but yeah, I didn't make the cut out of the 140 something people we had in our class, and I was a little bummed about it. I was like, oh man, what does this say as me as an actor? Like had the doubts about myself. And so but I did just go out and try to apply everything that I learned with the auditioning. I gotta say, my school prepared me pretty well for auditioning. Um, as far as the tools necessary to find the auditions and like go out there and actually do it. And I had a lot of discipline, straight jump out the gate. Um, so I would go on backstage and I would go to their audition calendar because they got a whole different separate thing from the actual stuff. I didn't know until teachers told me that. So like audition calendar, I'm searching that every day, waking up early in the morning, heading to Times Square, 50, 20, 520 Pro Studios, or heading to the Actors Equity, wherever the auditions are. That day I was there early because I was non-equity. Well, I still am non-equity. Non-equity, you got to be there early, sign in, and then wait for all the equity people to get seen. And then they start seeing non-equity people.
Wait,
Sometimes you won't get seen.
hold on a second. When you say equity, are you saying like you're in a union? What does that mean?
Yeah, like
Okay,
unionized actors. The
gotcha.
actors have SAG or
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. So unionized, like I wasn't at all whatsoever. Still am, still not. Um, so sometimes you get seen, sometimes you wouldn't get seen, but it was just that gamble. At least I went and I'm there and I had the opportunity to get seen. And I just kept telling myself, as long as I get seen at the end of the day. And when I did get seen, obviously I didn't get the role, but they wanted to see me for other stuff, so they remembered me. And I did get this really big opportunity, and I had this other opportunity. I ended up choosing the one that benefited my school because there was a basically I auditioned for, it was a new play, that the play that they brought in, a playwright that he already had a play that he written, very short play, but he wanted to make it better, round it out. And I guess for playwrights, their way of settling if the play is good for them or what edits need to be made, they have to see it. They want to see it. They want to put it together, have it seen. So that's what that situation was. And I chose that rather than doing live readings in Philadelphia. Because I mean, I don't know. So I was actually getting a lot of stuff right out the gate. And I was working really hard on a lot of things, doing extra gigs, trying to do PA work. I was just trying to stay around the arts, period.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay,
then
break down what a PA is for the people, print.
a production assistant. PA is a production assistant. They work behind the scenes on sets with the directors or the DPs. They handle like the little things, like they want somebody to take photography. Like that's what I did basically for the film I PA'd for. They wanted me to make sure that the contact was still on the way, or the talent. I had to actually call talent and make sure that they knew where set was and if they were going to be there or not. That was actually assistant director work, but I ended up having to take that on. I took, yeah, pictures behind the scenes. I made sure they had the snacks that they wanted, uh, drinks,
Yeah.
little stuff like that.
All the fun stuff.
Right.
Yeah, very fun stuff. Yeah. Uh, yeah, so I was just trying to stay around that world as much as possible. And
Mhm.
then COVID happened. But that didn't happen until like a year into it. But obviously I'm fresh and I'm new straight out. I'm not gonna, I mean, that's the common misconception that I think a lot of actors that come straight out of college come in, or that they run into, that they think that they're just going to instantly blow up or it's going to pop off and be really easy for them straight out the gate. And it's not. It's for majority, like, yeah, it's possible. There's just a very small chance of a person doing that. But you got the people who last at the end of the day are the people who are consistent and push through it. Those are the people that end up having the opportunities at the end of the day.
Right.
So
That's
yeah,
that that's a bar right there.
Nah,
yeah,
for real.
Yeah, we need to highlight what you said because we had to stop your conversation to highlight that.
Every now and then I say something that's like, ooh.
No, for sure, because a lot of people don't recognize that. They think that I'm gonna go to drama school, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna be a star tomorrow. But you're talking about the process of just being in the space so you can get an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
That people don't talk about the grind. Like that's the grind.
Yeah.
That's the grind, just to be on a set. So
yeah,
go ahead.
literally just to be on the set or just to be. Right now, still, I'm an usher. I work inside of the theater. To me, I thought that was important to just be again around that space, to be around that environment, and that every day that's that motivation for me. To me, when I'm at work today, I'm like, I'm watching the actors on stage, like, yeah, I'm watching them and I'm learning from them. And that's funny because every like, yeah, it's the same show every day, but it's different. It's a different show every day because swings, and then now they have a new cast, so it's even different. And so I sit there and I'm learning from them, but it's also motivation for me every day that, okay, that should be me up there. Like, get it together, get your stuff together. Like, before I go to work, that's what I should be doing, is making sure I have all my stuff in order, making sure I have all my monologues together, to stay prepared for when that opportunity does come a knocking.
Stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Listen, I was just gonna ask you, what's been a big motivating force in just like keeping you going? Because like, bro, like when I tell y'all, like his resume is long. Like, man, like from the podcast plays to from directing and starring.
A lot of imposter syndrome. Let's be real. A lot of imposter syndrome. In a way. There's a lot of things that keep me motivated, and that's not the only, obviously the only thing, but like imposter syndrome of thinking I'm not doing enough, or I haven't done enough to make the, I guess, impact that I want to make. I say this, but it's cool to say things, but until you actually put action into it. And I've always said that I want to do something for Savannah in a way that makes, but Savannah is pretty well off now with SCAD. SCAD has became even more of a bigger thing over there. But like, I've always wanted to make arts more accessible over there. And I can't do that unless I am successful myself.
You're a man of influence.
Yeah, and I also say that I want to do things for my family and like be able to provide for them. And I can't do that unless I have that platform or I'm successful. Like, I can't, all of these things that I want to do, I can't do it unless, I'm being successful, or I'm driving to the top there, whatever the top is, whatever that looks like. That's my motivation. I'm like, okay, am I doing enough? Is this enough to get me, to get my family, to get Savannah to where I want to be, to reach my goals? So there's a lot of it is imposter syndrome, because at the end of a show, or literally at the end of those podcast plays that I directed, at the end of it, I was just like, okay, what's next? Like, that was cool. That was fun. Process. I'm gonna get a little pay from it, but what's next? Because that wasn't enough. People don't care about what you did last, they care about what you're doing now.
Correct.
That's what my mom tells me. So
she right though. She right.
Yeah.
She right. That's good. That's part of staying relevant. So a question. Okay, so you went to school, you got out, you started hustling, you started doing everything. You mentioned podcast plays a few different times. How we get there? Was there anything before that? What happened?
Yeah, well, so what happened basically was COVID-19 swept in, said in-person auditions, acting altogether kind of took a pause. Again, I was doing a lot of extra work, like a lot of extra work. That was my income. ushering, and then extra work was my income. That's how I survived at that point. And when COVID came and shut all of that down, I was in a crisis, and I did have to come back home to Georgia for a second because mentally, my mental state wasn't like, a lot had happened for me here, and
Mhm.
I had to continue to pay rent in a place that I don't know how I'm going to find that money for.
Mhm.
Came back to Georgia, worked and stuff, and
Mhm.
I came back up here when things opened up a little bit, but not all the way. And it was just very like the only people who could get extra work are people who are either you're in the industry, you're known, and that like they have handpicked extras, and they kept those extras throughout the entirety of the season now. Like
Mhm.
that's become a thing that they keep extras and
Mm.
keep calling them, and they don't want they didn't want new faces. They wanted people that they've already worked with, that they know that, okay, you didn't have COVID before, you probably definitely don't have it now.
Mhm.
And then the whole being fully vaccinated thing was a thing, and I wasn't fully on board with it at first. And that's where all of that came about. There was this friend, this colleague I went to school with, Rebecca Klein, and she ended up making like, she tried to, how else can we have theater? How else can we have theater from the comforts of our own home? And she just decided, she was like, we can do plays through a podcast. How about that? I
Right.
mean, it just it could just be audio, and that's something that became even more heightened. So that's, then she was like asking people to be actors and or directors, or if anybody had any plays that they've written and that they want to have showcased on this platform, that they could come forward. And I was like, I would love to be an actor in it. I would love to be a director in it. Whatever you want me to do, I'm there. I may not be so much of a good hand in the writing department, but I'll help you if that's what you need.
Right.
And she was like, okay, let's go for it. And then the first thing she wanted me to do was direct this. It was a piece about mental health. Um, yeah, everybody knew around that point I'm really big on mental health. Like that's something that's super important to me. Um, and yes, that's how that came about. She just presented that opportunity to me. Thankful that she came up with that idea and presented it. We just did it.
What was the name of it in case somebody wants to check it out?
The name of the show, the name of the podcast is called The Garden of Voices, a podcast troupe. The name of that particular episode was called This Is a Low
Mm.
by
Oh,
Chris Eli Black.
all
Remember
right.
that name. Great,
This
great playwright, upcoming playwright.
okay. Phenomenal. So how was that experience?
Okay, so that I the whole process, because being the director, I guess I had to pick the actors. I
Right.
had to be in the room for the audition process. Um, I've been in the audition room before, but I guess being the person that is making the decision was it was it was daunting to me. I thought that was a very daunting task. I didn't know if I was going to be able to find the right person. Um, and then yeah, you're going to get some bad auditions, and you got some really good auditions. And then when I had those good auditions, it was the okay. That having the callbacks were even more daunting, because it was like, okay, I know who is good, and now I just got to figure out who I want, who meshes well together,
Mhm.
who's going to bring the best out of each other, who is going to take the good, who's going to listen to direction and
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
actually apply those things.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yeah, I chose the best group I could possible, like Sheldrake and then Marcus. Like I was scared to choosing Marcus because Marcus is my best friend, and choosing and working with your friends for your first time is a little scary because you don't know. It's that power dynamic of
Mhm.
like, you telling me what to do about something, or I don't know. And things work out funny sometimes, but he was very open into listening to whatever I had to say. And he definitely applied notes. And then they proved me wrong on a lot of things that I thought that, okay, the story is going to be this way. But I had to be open to the process of things changing. And the best outcome came of that. I was really satisfied with that enough to, obviously I did another one. Yeah, that process was that was crazy. I enjoyed it though. The work, the process in the room with the rehearsal process, all of it was fun.
Man. So outside of acting, outside of work, ushering, everything, who is Prentice?
That's a very that's a loaded question.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I think we were all still trying to find out who we are at the end of the day. But I genuinely don't know what to say, how to answer that question, bro. Like
Hey, man.
I am an artist.
What's your favorite
I am a
anime?
human trying to find my way through life every day, just try to trust God. Okay.
Okay,
Um,
well, here's a different question for you then, along the same vein. Within the art, who is Prentice?
within the art, who is Prentice?
Or who would you like to be known as? Because that's your career.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I mean, I don't even know if it is necessarily I even care to be known, I guess. I don't know. I just everybody wants to just leave a legacy or an impact or something of some type of sort. And like I said before, I want to be able to provide something for my family or to provide something for Savannah that makes these arts easily accessible to children just like me, that they probably would not have had to have a late start or hope. Not hope. I didn't hope that my parents moved. That just happened. God moved that way for me. But not a lot of people have that opportunity to just get up and move to a place that has that. Like a magnet program or something of that sort, like, or another SCAD or something. I don't know. Another opportunity, another way for the youth to just grasp onto the arts. Because art to me was definitely, it was eye-opening for me because it allowed me to express myself. It allowed me to evaluate it allowed me to evaluate my inner wrongdoings, I guess I can say, or things that my flaws, my inner flaws. There we go. Right word. Now, yeah, my flaws that I need to correct as a human myself. Or to just, okay, here we go. Yeah, yeah. What the Prince want to be known as for in the art? I just want to be able to affect other people the way that I've been affected with the arts. I want people to be able to feel. I want people to be able to look to sit down at a TV screen or sit down at on stage or listen to a podcast or watch whatever I'm in, whatever I'm behind the scenes of. I want them to be able to look at that and just feel something, to be able to either be able to escape from their reality that they're in, like they're in a bad situation, they want to feel some type of happiness. Sometimes people really want to cry, like you really want to get that cry out. I want to be able to just be able to affect people, to allow people to feel. Yeah, I think that's the answer.
Help people feel safe to feel.
Yeah.
Feel it. I feel it. I feel it. You know I feel it.
That yeah,
Yes.
indeed.
Yes.
Well, as a non-actor, it came from a good. It felt like it came from a good place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So man.
Oh,
So,
get I guess some. Okay, so quick question for you, Prentice. I'm sorry. Um, you did the podcast acting because I want to delve a little bit because you do regular acting as well because I looked at your credits a bit. What are some of the projects you've been involved in so far?
uh I've been in so a recent short film that I just finished up We finished this up like last year, actually. Or did we finish it? I don't know. It's been a while. It's been a while since we finished it up, but it just released like 2 months ago. Entered it in a couple of festivals. It's called Greylock. It is about an army veteran adjusting to the changes of coming out of the military into this real world that he's in now. I'm also in a another short that's called Checkmate. It's very short. It's a short. I don't. Why hasn't it been fully released? I think that something that I've been told is that festivals, in order to be entered in festivals, that these films can't be seen or showed or streamed anywhere else. So I think that might be a factor. But it's about a couple. It's about a gay couple, um, just exploring their relationship options, um, and having a conversation about that and trusting each other. Um, I I was in a few other things that I guess I'm not really so comfortable, I guess, talking about
No worries.
Real.
the value of it. I'll be completely real and upfront about it. I've been in a few projects that haven't really lived up to its name or lived up to what it was supposed to be. But as an artist, you take these risks and you take these leaps because you got to get your footage.
Yeah, you gotta take
Gotta
your
get-
lumps.
Yeah, you're gonna be in some bad films and some really crazy things. But yeah, I mean, I'm working on something right now. There's another short film I'm working on. I cannot say that title name.
Are you an actor? Or are you on the production side or what?
I am an actor on it.
Okay.
I can just say that the world is ending and my girlfriend broke up with me. That's all I
Oh,
can say.
hey, we're not gonna press it. We're not gonna
Listen,
press
okay. That's a big enough press in my
it. For
opinion.
sure. Are you open to doing more directing?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I more stage than anything. I don't see myself, and I like right now, as of right now, because later on I can gain more knowledge and that can be a thing. But as of right now, I can only see myself doing like the podcast directing. Now I know that that's something that I can do. That is easy. Work with people in their voices. That was fun, and or plays, straight up plays, because the way I can picture something on stage is like it's pictures. That's all stage is just pictures and
Mhm.
moving along with those pictures. So from a director's point of view, that's all that is.
Okay.
And so that's definitely something that I want to do. I haven't done any directing for stage, and I'm yearning for it. I'm yearning for it.
You're gonna speak that is coming, my brother.
We're speaking it over you.
One of these
Okay.
days is going to happen.
Sooner than you think.
Okay, talk about it, T.
Sooner than you think.
I'm
Real.
gonna accept that. I receive it.
For sure.
Do you have any personal passions that's not tied to acting?
Personal passes that is not tied to acting.
Yeah.
Oh, like you're talking about like
Hobbies. Like, what do you
yeah, like my merch. Um my merch.
Talk about it.
So I have a clothing brand that is currently in currently in construction, but you can still purchase things from it. It is called Prince Merch. The current line that is presented right now is is I hate it here.
Wait, spell the name of the line.
The name of the line is Prince Merch, like Prince. That's a
Prince
nickname that
Merch.
people has given me, Prince. So I've just ran with it.
Gotcha.
Uh,
I didn't know if you were saying Prince or Prince, like Prent.
yeah, print.
We can't see it, maybe. Okay.
Yeah,
Not pull it back.
that background is fading in with
There you
you.
go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Boom.
yeah.
Okay.
You saw it quickly.
Yeah.
It's the
Turn
it's
the background
that
off, Mike.
Okay.
that SpongeBob quarantine reference.
Okay.
He was in quarantine and he was talking to Penny, Chip, and Napkin.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I pulled that inspiration from. But I kind of just wanted to play with
Love
it.
it. Love it.
It's supposed to be all a meme. It's all a joke.
No, I
It's
love it.
it runs in a way of like an oxymoron is the way that I want to present it. That and run with the line of depression of like, it's okay to say like I feel like that people are depressed
Mm,
because they try to continue to run away from the problem rather than tackling it head first. And I
right.
think that accepting where you are is very important.
Mm,
Um, that's where I wanted to go with I hate it here. Not necessarily saying that I hate it here and that you want to sit in there,
mm-hmm.
but to just own that for right now and say, you know what, I hate it here. I hate it here in this moment and move along accordingly with that. Things will get better. Things will get better as long as you can accept and acknowledge where you are now.
So it's safe.
That's
It's safe to say I hate it here is a battle cry for you to get
yeah,
out of there.
yeah. And
Gotcha.
not to sit in there
Gotcha.
for sure.
I feel it. I
Y'all
need
are
I need
sick.
my I hate it here shirt.
Hey,
Don't
at it.
don't come on here advertising something now. We got to support
Real.
now.
No.
We got some more sweatshirts available.
All right.
Yeah,
Where can the
What
people go to
colors?
get it?
Yeah.
we right now my website is down for
Okay.
construction reasons of new merch coming out soon.
All right.
Uh, more details on that later. But
So
right now
so
Mhm.
we heard it.
Hmm?
So we heard it here first.
You heard it
That
here first.
Prince merch is
For the Hood Podcast. Prince Merch will be coming
Yeah.
out with some new merch soon.
All right.
Soon. How soon? I can't tell you.
that's
Soon.
real.
All right.
Yeah, you can just hit me up in my DMs on Instagram for right now until the website goes back up. The Instagram is G0LD dot mind. Gold mine.
Mm.
But it's zero. Yeah. That's where
Indeed.
you can purchase your Prince merch at.
Lo- Love it. What's the direction for Prince merch? Do you want to grow it up? I mean, like, what do you see for it? Where are you trying to take it?
So right now I'm not even working on it anymore. It's just been sitting in the side pocket that I needs to go back into revamping to get edited a little bit more because tried to test it out on a product and it did not turn out well. But because I actually care about quality. Quality is very
Okay.
important.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm working on a design that is again even more showcasing or trying to get people to think even more about depression. To look in not even just for the aspect of myself, but for the aspect of people looking from the outside in.
All right.
That I guess the direction I want to go with that is that yeah, I may you don't ever know what how beautiful somebody can be inside. I think that with the I don't know stigma for depression is strong right now. I don't know if that's because people are very aware of it, and I don't know if there's a huge stigma on it. But at that point, there's a huge stigma on depression, and that I do know that there are people who use depression as an excuse or an anchor. But then that when somebody expresses that okay, I have anxiety, I have ADHD or depression or these things, people tend to start looking at you different and start categorizing you as this and that. But you just don't know how beautiful I am inside because you haven't taken the time to actually dig deeper and to look inside. You
Mhm.
just immediately wrote me off as this rather than seeing how beautiful the inside of me is.
Right.
But also for self to know that, yeah, I am this right now, but there's so much beauty in me that can be released. And then I kind of want to take that design from there to showing how beautiful the inside is. I kind of want to, yeah, flip the inside outward. But yeah,
I
we'll
see.
see. You'll see when it drops. But yeah,
I was gonna say I see a whole campaign in my head based around what you just said. We could talk another time, but that's fire. That's fire.
yeah.
Real.
Thank you.
No,
Appreciate
like literally, it's like
it.
seeing
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. It's fire. I think it's a phenomenal idea.
So,
All I do is think all day about it. I appreciate
I get it.
it.
I get it. Hey man, but look, what it is there a piece of advice you would give the younger generation right now?
They're trying to get into acting or from anything that you've gone through.
As my favorite artist would say, Kid Cudi, keep moving forward. Um, keep pushing. You gotta keep working. You gotta stay consistent. You gotta keep that discipline. You gotta learn that discipline, and you gotta continue to practice it
For sure.
and keep pushing through, because at the end of the day, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Things are going to fall bad, and then things are going to fall very smoothly for you. But if you keep pushing, things will work out at the end of the day.
And I received that from myself.
Straight up.
Thank
Same.
you.
Same.
Thank you.
All right, Joe. Prentice, is there any other way that people can hit you up besides Instagram?
You can also follow me on Twitter. It is G0LD __ mind. Gold _ mind. What is another zero as the O? That is all of my media as of now.
All right.
Amen.
Well, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming on. You were a phenomenal guest. You dropped a lot of jewels, took us in a lot of directions. We don't know whether to be excited, cry, run, celebrate. We're here for all of it, though. And I think it was phenomenal. And I'm not even being funny, dead serious. It was a great interview.
Thank you so much. I was glad to be here.
Absolutely. For everybody listening, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We're going to need your support on all platforms. We're everywhere. Again, my name is T. Hardaway.
And I'm Michael Bahsil.
And we are the Did It for the Hood podcast, baby.
Indeed.
Check back with us next Tuesday because we'll be here same time, same channel.